Japanese war because those people were invading our shores, okay? But, you know, I've got a big problem with continuing spending the money that we are to support the wars. And my simple question is, I was a soldier, I was drafted in 1860, okay? And we used to go to our barracks, we used to be ready for work, okay? And my question is, if we have 70,000 troops in whatever country, Iraq or whatever, when they get up during the morning, they shave, they eat, what do they do all day long? Now, we're not fighting across fence to fence like we did with the Japanese or the Germans, okay? So you guys will probably have the opportunity to vote for or vote down expenditures for war. So can you tell me what the 70,000 soldiers are doing daily in Iraq?
The 70,000 soldiers there, I've not been there to see firsthand. I know congressmen have, and if elected, I want to investigate to see. But I will say this, I am grateful for every American soldier who sacrificed life and limb for our freedoms. And a little over 10 years ago on 9/11, we were attacked. We didn't ask to be attacked. And by a force, an evil force, that wants to bring down America. And, you know, we've never been an aggressor to try to take over other lands. The only land we've ever taken in a war is the land to bury our dead. And I'm grateful for your service and for the service of other veterans who are here tonight. But, no, war is a very serious matter. And it's not something that we can just put our troops in harm's way and be the world's policeman. But that's a very serious issue, and I think that for every situation where we put our troops in harm's way, that's not something we should seek to do or want to do, not just because it's expensive. It is expensive, but because we're talking about life, which is priceless, and the life of our troops must be protected. I believe we need to support our military, our veterans, but I will say this, and it goes back, and these are all related questions. Energy independence is something that would help us avoid entanglements, because then when somebody says, I'm going to shut down the Straits of Hormuz, how did you say? There's a relationship.
Bronze chair.
And in fact, to support our military properly, you know, history has shown that this is that whenever there's a vacuum, it's filled. There's a lot of hate out there. Is it going to be filled with nuclear bombs from Iran? They already have a capacity of that. It's going to be filled with missiles from North Korea, ships from China. I don't know. But it will be filled. There will be ships on the sea. There will be bombs in the air. The question is, where are they coming from? Where are they going? But what we need to focus on in this country, in addition to energy independence, is economic vitality. And you can't, you know, if America isn't strong educationally, spiritually, morally, and economically, then we will not be able to sustain our military, whether it's just protecting our own borders or wherever they are. So I think that, you know, it is to answer down to what a specific soldier is doing in Iraq right now. I'm not in a position to give an answer on that.
That's what we need to have answered and justify our presence and the money that we're spending. So that would be critical. I'm not pointing you to do it. The guys in office today should have been doing it for a long time. Okay? But you know, we hear guys riding down the street and getting blown up. Where are they going? You understand? We're not fighting against fence, one side to the other. So you know, it'd be good for you guys to understand what the 70,000 or the 100,000 or whatever it is. What are they doing daily? Thank you for listening.
Go ahead.
Part of the size and scope of government. I can
and this happens on all levels of government, but I don't see any for public unions. I mean, it just doesn't seem like, that, again, it's a conflict of interest.
If there's a reason our founding fathers put the 10th Amendment. And, you know, if you get the government so big, it's suddenly the tail's wagging the dog. And if most of the people in this country have government jobs, and I'm not belittling anybody who works for government, there's some wonderful people. In fact, I talked to a lady in this county who told me she worked for the Social Security Administration for 35 years and devoted public servant, a Republican. And she said she'd see people come in here fraudulently seeking benefits and go and throw their wheelchair into the back of the pickup truck, knock in, and when they said, wait a minute, we've got to pull that application, they wouldn't let them. But, you know, even when they saw it, there's some very good people who work. But what's happening is as government gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it overshadows private industry. Suddenly, they're going to just keep voting themselves their jobs.
Which is what's.
And we're going to lose, we the people. Notice how we keep going, we lose control of our life.
There, I mean, and Wisconsin, that's what we talked about Wisconsin earlier, is that's what that battle's about. Because, you know, can the unions, are they so powerful now they can disrupt, they're trying to overturn elections. I mean, how do we get here, you know? But I don't think that you can, until the union thing is dealt with, it's going to be really hard to cut government. I think you got to cut unions before you cut government. I don't know. And again, Wisconsin is just a good example of this is what's going to take.
I'll go back, a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. Congressmen going up there, doing their job, exercising federal oversight, cutting the budget. I mean, you cut the budget, you cut the budget. And that's, you know, you cut the size of it. I just want to say something here. Our debt is now bigger than our GDP. And that is really, that's beyond almost being on the road to Greece. And what we need to realize, there's interest being charged. And at some point, I have two daughters. I want you to notice them on the back of my car. But the interest our children and our grandchildren will have to pay on our extravagant spending is going to hurt them. And, you know, one thing, in fact, I mentioned this to Bill Rychek, who used to be the head of board of port down there in Freeport. I said, you see this bridge, you see some of these things, at some point in our lives, this will wear out, or in the lives of our children and grandchildren.